Over the past year, we've gotten a whole bunch of fictionals and real cars in Greenville, and unfortunately for most of them, they haven't really made it to game. I'll be covering all of the 100 plus cars, precisely 101 cars, that never made it to Greenville, real and fictional. Stuff that stretches back pre-revamp, etc. Special thanks to Frizzionnare because he made the Trello board and inspired the entire idea for this video, so please go pay his video a visit. I'm begging you. I guess. Now, let's get on with it. And of course, what better place to start off than with the orthodox leaks found in the ADVR zone in JVCN. So, we're gonna get straight into it. So first off, with the fictional leak, we have the Audi Q8, which is actually cancelled. It was made by CXR and it's fictional. I don't know what complaints originated from this, that people probably didn't like this because it looked cheap. Then for the Chevy SS fictional, this was cancelled for unknown reason. But then we have the Toyota Super fictional, which had a lot of slander for being ugly, especially from the rear, and notably the pre-facelift variant, and even the facelift got a hell lot of slack, which is why it got cancelled, because of just a whole lot of just slander. We got the modern version though, so I guess that will suffice. Then we also have the 1 Series hatch and convertible plan, but there is also a lot of criticism in general for the 1 Series coupe. Just the look of it, people didn't like it. It got added, just the coupe version. These other two were probably cancelled though, unfortunately. Now we're going to move on to real cars that never got added, starting with the Ford Explorer remodel. Yeah, this is fully done complete. Well, guess it never arrived. Then we have the LFA Nürburgring, just a accompaniment limited to the LFA normally before it got removed. Then we have a Ferrari 812 Superfast, which got cancelled. Not a good sign, honestly. As a side note, I nearly forgot the Porsche Panamera that CXR mentioned, speaking of his cars. Then the remodeled Ford Mustang, which actually stretches quite a way back, and it was spotted over the years until 2023. Then the unreleased Chevy Trailblazer. Yes, blue one driven by Ivy when Ivy was still called Cash App Only Jr. Then the Toyota Land Cruiser 200 and the remodel had 2 variants that was driven around in sessions, and I think people were hyped up over it. Now we're going to go into the leaks of cars that the Mercedes C-Class W204 and a track variant, I'm pretty sure 63, that was also called. It would have been pretty god-darn sick. Then a remodeled 1998 Ford Expedition, and also the remodel of the 1998 Ford F-150. Then the modern version of the Lincoln Nautilus. Here's the image of it in real life. We have a bunch of 2024 and 2025 trucks, notably a Silverado, a Sierra, and an F-250, I'm pretty sure. Moving on, we have a Blob Eye Subaru, which is actually spotted in the session, and also had a beater variant that accompanied it. A Chevy Lumina by Blackout, which was actually a pretty active contributor before the removals. Then the Lincoln MKS, the BMW 2 Series / the M2, which was also spotted in a session. A remodeled Cadillac XT5, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Then the Mercedes E-Class W212 by Ivy, which is actually majorly hyped up, and I'm pretty sure at least a few of the trims had their model complete. Then we have the E30 BMW M3, then the 90s Fox Body Mustang, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Here's a fuller image of it without the headlights. Then a Chevy Caprice remodel, yeah, the 1996 one that also included the Oldsmobile. A Land Rover Range Rover. Damn, probably an Ivy product. Then a Ford Crown Victoria family remodel, which actually is not the one we have in game. Now, the one in game we have is a different remodel. This one included Mercuries and a 1998 variant, so probably much more elaborate, but I don't really know about model quality since I'm not a modeler. Then we have the 2014 Lexus IS, which is actually spotted in the session. Then an Evo Lancer remodel, which I think was also spotted. Then we have a Nissan Silvia S15 by Sherry. A Ford Lightning SVT, which will actually pop up back later, but just a different model and at a different time. So on both occasions, the Lightning SVT never got added. Then the Mr. Bean 1969 Mini Cooper probably would have had the Mr. Bean cars limited, but never arrived. You have a Hyundai Elantra Touring GLE police car just for the gits and shiggles. We have a Chevy Impala 2002 remodel, yes, the GTR emulator, and quite a shame it never came, since we're going into 2020, early 2023 and late 2022 territory. Then there's Hunter making something, quote, a Dodge van. Just looks like a Dodge van, you can tell by the grille. Then there's a Honda HR-V, which was planned, but this never made it to game. There's a 2021 variant, but this isn't a Chief. Then a Kia EV6, and the only reason I'm mentioning it is because this is supposedly in 2022. A Lexus LC Coupe, and GMT 800 platform Sierra. I'm pretty sure the Suburban, the Tahoe of the GMT 800 were added, but not this one, which makes it quite an oddity. Now, moving on, as for future updates, there's actually quite a huge avenue, and it's not really recent stuff either. It's all a bunch of old stuff, pre-2022, maybe 2021. So the first thing we have here are, of course, the F-150 and the F-150 Lightning, which have fictionalized variants, so I'm not going to go over them very much, though all trims being completed is kind of a shame. Then, there was actually planned, before I forget, an S60 off-road version, cross-country by Ivy of some sort. I don't know why it was canceled or not added, maybe as limited. It never came as a limited though, so I'm really more confused. Then we have a Genesis GV60, which is kind of understandable, never made it, but moving on. Then we have a DeLorean, I forgot the model name of this car for some reason. Then it's gold-plated. Yeah, but there's also gold rims in game and you can paint your car gold, so not really a huge loss. Then a Mercedes GLS Katie Line and the Diamond Line edition. Actually, Maybach, before I forget to mention it. Diamond Line is like a one-off thing, I'm pretty sure, so. Then we have a 2021 Kia Sportage, which is just insane. A 2022 Western Motors Centaur, a six-wheeled variant. Before I forget as well, just an interjection. National Park Service vehicles of the 2013 Explorer. That never happened for some reason, even though it happened to every single other one. Then we have a Polestar 1, which is going to be added alongside the Polestar 2, and in fact, the Lincoln Co. 03, if I remember correctly. Then we have a Ford Mustang GTR 40th Anniversary Edition. Then a 2013 Lincoln Navigator Limousine, which is just crazy, just stupidly insane. I don't know how I feel about this not being added, but then a Western Motors Servo Limited, that race red one in the back, which unfortunately never got added. Then lifeguard vehicles, which with the lifeguard job maybe could come back in a different form. I don't know. Lifeguards, I don't know if lifeguards have vehicles because they don't exist here. I mean, the vehicles, I mean. Then we have a Isuzu WSP car, probably your Troll. Then a Protogen LEO WSP car, which this is why it has an LEU decom variant, probably. Then a Hummer limousine for absolutely no reason, literally peak car of the 2000s. Then we have a Rivian R1S taxi. This is just quite pioneering for the time, probably. Then a SWAT van. Okay. A 1999 Plymouth Voyager with like, I don't know, stanced out, purple and pink flames, everything just pizzazz up in the fire. Well, okay. Then the 2017 Western Protogen LEO car, before all the Western vehicles were deprecated. And now we're going to move on to some other more real cars. The 2012 Hyundai Zera, the BMW 1 Series, the Lexus CT200H, the A220, the 3 Series E90, and all that is from a dude called Inactive, which is probably the reason they were never added to game. And then we have an M3 GTR variant, probably based off the Need for Speed version, or just as a limited GTR version. Then we have a Honda Civic E6 SI. Honestly, this model seems just pretty good, just for sight. It's kind of a shame it never got added, even as a limited. Got 3D rims, though, might have been like a justification for why it never got added. Then we have a Pontiac Aztek WSP car, which would have had 186 miles an hour, so the turns really have tabled on Walter White here. Then we have a Lada Niva, which with the Lada sedan we had very recently. Yeah, and it was actually, the Lada sedan was actually planned a hell lot of a long time ago, and then it got remodeled and added later, so I guess that's still a win. International Durastar CIT, and the box trucks variant. Now we're heading into semi-world for 3 semis. We have the Kenworth T680, the Peterbilt 379 Sleeper, and who could forget the Tesla Semi. Now out of semi-world, we're going to go into the other cars. the Mercedes-Benz GLK 350 4MATIC once again by inactive, Bluezilla's Lost 2020 Ford Expedition, which for some reason never got added. Maybe it was the 2023 variant substituting that, I guess. Porsche 911 GT3, and I'm sorry I say 911, I don't know, I'm too used to it now. Then the 2006 Chevy Corvette C6, which actually got a perspective drive from LGSplash for the revamp, which is strange considering it never got added, which is also just kind of sad. But now there's also a giant picture with limiteds all in it, some of them in game, some of them not. One of them is the Chrysler ME412 M120 Proto, Duno's Cosmo, which is pretty cool, I guess. And then just out of that, there's also, then we have a Jaguar XFS, a Nissan Skyline R33, a 2018 GMC Yukon Denali XL, to be specific, then the Ford SVT Thunder and the Ford Lightning SVT, which, yeah, this is where the second one pops up. Then there was also going to be a box truck, a Mitsubishi Fuso FE140, but the same thing with the International Durastar box truck wasn't added because devs would be afraid people would abuse them, which doesn't make sense because there's also a school bus in there, and at the same time, semis are super long cars like school buses, but they weren't added either, which just seems kind of weird. Then the WIP IS350, that's not done, but this is a different one from the new one. Should have mentioned that, actually. Then there's a 2012 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo, and rightfully this probably wasn't added to game. A Hyundai Ioniq, and just for a pure sense of irony, before I round out this section, there was actually a Toyota Mirai. Yeah, a Toyota Mirai in 2018 that was going to be added to game and came about 5 years later. It's quite hilarious, I find it. And then there's a Mercedes-Benz A-Class, sort of maybe a performance version, and that looked pretty cool. But now we're going to move on to the Trello, starting with the 2 real cars that are actually on here that have not been in future updates. And yes, special thanks again to Frizzionnare, and quite a few of the Trello cars are actually in future updates, so just to avoid the overlap, they're covered in the future updates section. Anyways, without much more yapping, 2012 Honda Accord, just a generic Civ car. I think quite a few people did ask us for it, but guess it's not there. And the 2014 Mercedes-Benz S-Class. Now into the fictional Trellos. There's a Volkswagen Golf R420, which is apparently some concept. It was crazy. Some sort of limited 5-cylinder. Would have had a crack tune considering, you know, the tunes during GV3 or, you know, early revamp era. And then the 2077 Tesla Super Cybertruck, which was also going to be limited alongside the normal Cybertruck, but the normal Cybertruck is just added in game as a normal car anyway. So that's just the way it goes. Then we have the 2017 Agnar Tormenta, and the real concern for this car was that too many supercars in the Greenville revamp would not be a good thing, so they canceled it. I think it had a really unique design, and it was only missing like a chassis. This actually replaced a Bugatti at some point during the after Bugattis were removed for a matter of 15 minutes, and that's how people probably know most about this car. Frizzionnare has actually made an unreleased car review, so I recommend you go see that. Then we have the 2019 WM Shark, which looks like the classic WM Circle. But the thing is, this car is a shooting brake or wagon version of the coupe, which is why it looks slightly different and obviously has different badging and name. Quite a shame this didn't come, because I'm kind of a wagon guy, and this design, like the Circle, kind of looks pretty cool. Then there's also the 2019 WM Snake, which is a predecessor to the Taipan, if I remember correctly. There's also a Taipan concept that was leaked in a session, but that's different. It's not the Trello one. I think the design of this one looks better than the Taipan, actually. It just looks nice, no better way to put it. Hot Hatch is also my favorite, and that the game just has a severe lack of luxury hatchbacks or sport hatchbacks in general, so this would have been a nice addition. Then the 2020 WM Kaiju XA65, because the Kaiju wasn't fast enough. And there was also a planned LEO version of it, which is actually planned to be scrapped or added as a limited, but then complications with game passes or whether they'd make public services vehicles free for people with LEO pass, complicated stuff. And then there's another high-performance Western, the WM Puro XA Ultra Sport, with white stripes and blackout paint. This thing just looks just insane. I literally don't know how to describe it further. And then we're gonna go into planned stuff, because that is a whole nother can of worms. Sorry, I can't do the Dr. House voice for the rest of the video, if you guys could even tell that's what it was. But moving on, we got the 1972 Urban Outlaw SR, classic American muscle, so schön, so beautiful. We've added quite a lot to the classics, since there weren't many in Greenville just to speak of even now, let alone before the revamp. And then we have the 1996 Acadia Arnold, which is just a van. Okay, it's a van. I mean, I ain't complaining. It's a van, and it does the job. And there's the 1996 Acadia Hill, aka the Urban Tour, which low-key kind of reminds me of the GMC Typhoon. But, I mean, it's a regular version, it's not like classic, so that's pretty bing chilling. And we have the 1996 Acura 400S, which reminds me very much of a Mitsubishi Eclipse, for absolutely no reason at all. I don't know why. This does not look anything like a Mitsubishi Eclipse. 1996 Radiant Leader. Oh, you're gonna see a lot of this. Rebadges of cars. This is a rebadge of the Acura 300RS, I'm pretty sure. It's pretty bing chilling, I guess. Got some unique styling. Light's kind of weird and funky at the back, but okay. 2005 WN Phantom kind of low-key reminds me of a Dodge Charger from the behind, maybe of a Ford Mustang. Alright, that's pretty good. Moving on, 2016 Acadia XNSR, just another very unique coupe that low-key at first glance looks like it's got a pretty good model, like detailed lights and all that, but it's probably gonna wound up looking like the Acadia TSR anyway. Then we have the 2017 Acadia Flasher, the 2019 Acadia X50, which if I stop here, I mean, what is this thing? They ain't got good crossover bodies and automation, which is where all these cars were originally made. Automation ported over to BeamNG Drive. And so it's got this really unique styling to it and just the shape in general. It's supposed to be a coupe sportback crossover. Then rebadges of each other, 2019 Acadia XSC and the Radiant TX, Radiant Texas I'd like to call it. It's pretty good. They're pretty ballin' and styling. I like the Acadia one more to be, if I'm being honest. And they look pretty good and look pretty unique, despite being on the Acura NSX body, if you haven't noticed, because I didn't notice that. Frizzionnare noticed that. Yes. Then the 2019 Agnello Lampago X, I think that's what it's called, and I think it's literally as question marks next to it on the Trello. I don't know if that's called what it is, but like, Italian supercar? Okay. It got the vibes, it got the styling, it's smooth, but it ain't ever been added, and it won't be added. 2019 Sazia C6, just a generic Ford-looking sedan. I mean, it's alright. Then we have the 2019 W, which looks squished, narrow. Lights look way too big and very funky. Also because no crossover body, so this thing looked just kind of weird, low-key. But if we had seen it in Greenville where people had bought it, at least one person, I'd be pretty sure. Then the last two cars of this video, we got the 2020 WM Manual Kit. Kind of like a Protogen. I'm pretty sure it's kind of like Protogen, maybe like a C segment type car. Rivals the Audi A3, the Volkswagen GLI, and the BMW 2 Series. Okay. Then the 2022 WM K9 E4MX, which low-key looks like a Mustang because, you know, Bluzilla loves those 3-stripe lines for the taillights. And it's electric. Yeah. And that's basically every single car that was never added to Greenville. Thank you for watching, everyone. Once again, special thanks to Frizzionnare, the Frizzionnare, because, is the reason I have the Trello section and the reason this video exists. I said that at the beginning. No more yappery do. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.